Live from Alltel Stadium in Jacksonville, Florida. It's the National Football League on CBS. Today's game features the Miami Dolphins and the Jacksonville Jaguars. Welcome back. Gloomy day here in Jacksonville with a 60% chance of rain. Jacksonville has won the toss. They will receive. Dave Wannstedt in his 4th year. His team coming off an impressive win on the road against the Giants last week. And Jack Del Rio in his 1st season picked up his 1st win as a head coach, defeating San Diego. So Olindo Mare ready to send it away, and back deep David Allen and LeBrandon Tofield for the Jaguars. And we're underway from Alltel Stadium. David Allen takes a knee in the end zone. And here come the Jacksonville Jaguars offense. Byron Leftwich, 7th overall pick out of Marshall last week, 19 of 28, 336 yards, a couple of touchdowns in his 2nd start, replacing Mark Brunell. Up front, Mo Williams, the leader at right tackle, Naoli, Meester, Manawai, and Pearson. The backs and receivers, Jimmy Smith returned after sitting out 4 games because of a suspension, had a 100-yard game against San Diego. 1st down and 10 at the 20-yard line. There's Jimmy. Leftwich out of the shotgun. They hand it off to Fred Taylor, and Taylor crosses the 20, gets up to the 22. Defensively for the Miami Dolphins, they forced 4 turnovers, including intercepting Kerry Collins 3 times last week. Taylor, though, has had trouble getting to the quarterback. The linebackers, Hendricks replaces Junior Seau, who's out today with a hamstring injury. And in the secondary, Patrick Surtain has been a masterful interceptor, along with Marion Knight with Madison at the right corner spot. There's Jason Taylor, only a half sack this season. Last year, he had 18 and a half to lead the NFL. Empty backfield for Leftwich looking. Leftwich pulls it down and maybe gains a yard. Jason Taylor tackling him from behind.
Nice coverage there by the Miami defensive backfield. And you see Byron Leftwich with an empty backfield. No, you're not fooling anybody. He's got to make sure that he gets rid of that ball. Nowhere to throw it. Just tuck it and run. Jason Taylor checking the yard marker there on the side, seeing if it indeed was a sack. I think Leftwich got a yard, so not registered as a sack.
Brings up 3rd down, 7 yards to go at the 23. And you take a look at Jason Taylor's numbers on the season. Leftwich out of the shotgun, looking down the field underneath. Taylor with the grab. 1st down. Fred Taylor spinning, fumbles the ball. Who has it? Miami has it. Sam Madison, I believe, is at the bottom of the pile. And Sam Madison jumps on the football.
And Gus, if you remember when we spoke with Brock Marion, the safety for the Dolphins yesterday, he said Fred Taylor loves to spin on contact. And you see the hand in there, and all of a sudden, I think that's Terrell Buckley getting his hand right on the ball after Fred Taylor with a big gainer, one-on-one matchup, and Fred's a little frustrated. That's going to be such an important part of today's game plan. Get Fred Taylor the ball both in the running game and the passing game.
So the Dolphins take over at the Jacksonville 41, 1st down and 10. Chris Chambers in motion. Here's the pitch. Ricky Williams looking for a hole. Bounces it outside, and Williams close to the 35. Ushered out of bounds by Donovan Darius. Jay Fiedler last week against the Giants, 14 of 26, a $167, no touchdowns, no interceptions, but he completed 7 of 9 passes for 74 yards in the 2nd half. Offensively, Ruddy back in the lineup after missing last week because of a knee injury. And the backs and receivers, watch Randy McMichael, one of the talented young tight ends in the NFL. He'll look to stretch the defense. 2nd down at 6 at the 37. Here's Fiedler to the sideline. Chambers with the grab out of bounds at the 30, close to a 1st down. Fernando Bryant covering, gain of 8. Defensively for the Jaguars, they allowed David Boston to catch 14 passes for 181 last week. Brackens leads them in sacks with 3, Stroud, Henderson, and Douglas. The linebackers, Mike Peterson, the former Colt, in the middle along with Adele and Slaughter. And in the secondary, Rasheem Mathis is a great-looking prospect, a rookie out of Bethune-Cookman College. He's the free safety. 1st and 10 at the 29. Ricky Williams, the lone setback. Here's Ricky. And Williams goes down at the 31. Tackled on the play by John Henderson.
And Big John Henderson, Gus, getting some penetration inside. Watch number 98, stands up at the point of attack, then busts through that block and gets Ricky Williams in the backfield. And you mentioned during those intros, the strength of this Jaguars defense is their run-stopping ability. Maybe their weakness out on the corners. And so the Dolphins are going to have to make some plays in the passing game.
Marcus Stroud and John Henderson, 2 of the best defensive tackles in the league. 2nd and 10 at the 29. Fiedler underneath. It's caught. Randy McMichael with the grab. Still running down to the Jacksonville 15-yard line. TJ Slaughter trips him up, but it's a gain of 14 for Randy McMichael.
Boy, it looked like McMichael stuck his hands back right through TJ Slaughter. I was thinking when Jay Fiedler initially threw that ball, it could be a pick. But you talked about Randy McMichael. Watch him work back to the quarterback. Comes back, gets those hands extended away from his body. This young man is a playmaker. The Dolphins need to utilize McMichael much more in this offense.
1st down and 10 at the 16. Williams in motion out of the backfield. The draw play. Lap Conrad. Not a lot of room. He crosses the 15. Down at the 13-yard line. John Henderson wrapping him up.
And we saw a lot more of Rod Conrad last week, and Jack Del Rio saying, hey, not only do we have to stop Ricky Williams, but the Dolphins have come out and done exactly what we said they'll need to do to take the pressure and the focus off Ricky Williams. Get other guys involved. Get a Rob Conrad the ball. Get Randy McMichael. We saw Chris Chambers with a big catch on the sideline. Spread the ball around so the Jags can't just focus on stopping Ricky.
Dolphins really successful in the red zone as we take a look at Williams again, looking to bounce it outside. Williams breaks a tackle, still running. Williams needs one block. He gets it from Jay Fiedler.
Wow.
Touchdown! Holy Toledo! What a block by Jay Fiedler. He leveled Tony Brackens.
And Tony Brackens is no DB. And you gotta give Jay Fiedler great credit for having his heads up. And how about Ricky Williams? Nothing on the left side. Cuts it all the way back. Look at this shot. Bang! That is how you cut block in the National Football League. You don't expect it from your starting quarterback. And you got to give Jay Fiedler that one.
Malindo Mare into it, took the extra point. It's good, a 14-yard run. Ricky Williams and Jay Fiedler, the man out of Dartmouth, springs them with the decleater. Miami up 7-zip. Fred Taylor's fumble allows Miami to take a 7-0 lead. Dolphins send it away, line drive, fielded by Mark Edwards at the 14. Edwards still running. And Mark Edwards all the way up to the 35. A 21-yard return. Fred Taylor will look to make up for his mistake right after this.
The NFL on CBS is sponsored by Expedia.com. Don't just travel, travel right. T-Mobile, get more minutes, more features, more service. And by Toyota, get the feeling.
Seven to nothing. The Dolphins lead the Jaguars. Jacksonville takes over at their own 34-yard line. Byron Leftwich joined by Fred Taylor, Mark Edwards in the backfield. Here's the pitch. Taylor breaks it back, spins, and goes down at the 33, maybe the 34. Sammy Knight brings him down.
I guess let's go back to that touchdown. You feel like you're on the field. Watch, penetration cuts off Ricky front side. fights off a tackle. Now watch Jay Fiedler. He doesn't just lay into Tony Brackens, he explodes. You see that explosion? That's how you do a cut block. Most quarterbacks just fall on a guy. You see him drive that shoulder. Look at that extension by a quarterback. What a great effort. Gets Brackens all the way off his feet. And what an impressive block.
Second down 9 at the 35. Here's Leftwich lifting downfield, gets it up in the air, incomplete. And talking about that Miami offense, they do something that you really like, Brent. They've been in the red zone 10 times this year. They've scored 8 touchdowns, and they've kicked only 2 field goals.
And you know, Jay Fiedler takes a lot of heat, but he's done a nice job of managing this team. They had a tough start. Houston at home, they lost that one. I think it was a great wake-up call. Jay Fiedler has been accurate when he's needed to be in the red zone. Field goals aren't your friend. You've got to put touchdowns on the board.
And the Dolphins have done it this year. 3rd and 9 at the 35. They need to go to the 44 for first down. Leftwich out of the shotgun. And Leftwich in a little trouble. Steps up in the pocket. Fakes the throw. And Leftwich picks up the first down. Beautifully done. A gain of 11. Zach Thomas tackled it.
A little veteran savvy by the rookie. And you see him, just that little arm pump throws the defense. Byron Leftwich having to throw. You see the stunt coming in from the outside. This is a big man. Gus steps up. That fake right there, that little pump. You see him freeze the cornerback right there. Arturo Freeman, the nickelback. And you are not going to be stopping Leftwich once he gets a full head of steam.
First down and 10 at the 46. Kyle Brady in motion. Here's the drop play. Taylor looking. Taylor, a nice piece of running for Jacksonville's Fred Taylor. Marlon Greenwood. Who should we keep an eye on today?
Gus, we got to keep an eye on the gunslinging rookie, Byron Leftwich. Not afraid to throw the ball downfield. We've seen some pass attempts already. Jacksonville hasn't cut back on their offense. This man can make some things happen. I don't care if he's a rookie. And one of the keys today is he's gonna be going against his veteran secondary of the Dolphins. He's got to not follow the receiver with his eyes. He's got to look off those safeties and defensive backs.
Second down 4 at the 48. Leftwich drop play again. Taylor looking, and he's not backwards. Fumbled it again. Fred Taylor fumbled the ball again. But this time he jumps on it. Jason Taylor brings him down.
Tackled by Jason Taylor.
Well, you just wonder, we had a little drizzling before the game. You wonder if they're not getting that ball wiped up enough down there on the field. Fred Taylor obviously feels pressure to create some plays, and you see him just going back right there in the tackle. Jason Taylor, and Fred got a break right there. That ball bounced right back up into his breadbasket.
A loss of 2. 3rd down at 6 at midfield. They need to go to the 44 for first down. Chris Fuamatamaafala in the lineup now at tailback for the Jaguars. Here's the handoff to Fuamatamaafala, and he picks up the first down. But a flag on the play on the far side of the field.
Boy, it did, and I think Terrell Buckley was trying to bait the receiver to jump off, and so he got caught in the snap count. But it's going to be a first down for the Jags anyway. And you know what? 3rd down is going to be such a key in this game for Jacksonville.
Offside against Miami.
And, you know, that's one of the things that Jack Del Rio told us. This team needs to get better on 3rd down.
Penalties decline. Result of the play. First down.
Jack told us, Gus, that both offensively and defensively, they got to do better on 3rd down. And that's really the key to time of possession. You want to get other offenses off the field, so your defense has to rise up on 3rd down, and you want to keep those chains moving on offense and hang on to that ball, so you got to convert. And it's been one of the areas where the team hasn't been as solid thus far this year.
1st and 10 at the 43. Here's Fuamatamaafala, former Steeler, carrying the pile, and he gets inside the 40 to the 39. Greenwood with the tackle. NFL Network analyst Rich Eisen gives his impressions on working at the league office as only he can. It's only at NFL.com or at NFL on AOL. And Chris Fuamatamaafala, very interesting player. Steelers right now with Amos Zaraway and Jerome Bettis looking for that go-to back. This guy could have been that kind of player for Pittsburgh if he could have stayed healthy.
Yeah, you know, I think the Steelers just eventually gave up on Fu, and needless to say, he was welcome with open arms here in Jacksonville.
2nd and 6 at the 39. Leftwich. Batted down at the line of scrimmage, intercepted. Jason Taylor got a hand on it.
I think that was Jeff Scanina that made the grab, Gus.
And that is the second turnover of the first quarter for the Jaguars. Another turnover for the Jaguars. This time, Jeff Scanina, the recipient of a Byron Leftwich pass, which was deflected by Jason Taylor. That's 2 turnovers in the first quarter. First and 10, Miami at their own 42. Play action. Fiedler in trouble. Sidesteps. Finally fires. Incomplete. Nobody near the ball. Fiedler under pressure by Marcus Stroud.
And guys, one of the keys today is Jeff Scanina filling in for Tim Bones, the Pro Bowler. And we've never talked to Jeff Scanina, but I absolutely want to ask him how you get Scanina out of that. But
how would you say it, though? I mean, if it wasn't Scanina.
Zaganya. But big play for Jeff. Needless to say, he's pretty fired up about getting a pick. And we've seen Jacksonville try to attack the interior of that Dolphins defensive line. Scanina's going to have his hands full all day.
Second and 10 at the 42. Late fake. Quick fire. Chambers with the grab at the Jacksonville 49. Dives forward close to a first down. A gain of 9. Jason Kraft with the tackle.
And that's something that you don't see too often if you're a Miami Dolphins fan. A pass on first down, a pass on second down. And those are the things that Norv Turner needs to keep mixing in. Of course, have great respect for Norv. You see Chris Chambers coming back, getting his shoulders square to the quarterback. And Norv Turner going to unleash this offense. They have some playmakers. And a lot of talk around the league is they've just got to manage their offense with Ricky Williams, but you've got to have other guys step up and make plays as well.
Third down 1 at the 49. Miami has converted 7 of 8 third down and 1 situations this year. They do it again. Now let's go to our man in New York, Jim Nance.
All right, fellas, we're not even 9 minutes into the game in Nashville, and twice McNair has found his favorite target. It's Mason for the second time in the end zone already. 14-0 Titans. Good to be talking to you gentlemen today. Back to you.
All right, Jim, we had New England and Tennessee last week, Brent, and what a game that was.
Well, it sure was, and the Patriots stuck with their game plan. They kept running the ball, the Titans nickel defense, and ended up on top 38-30.
First down and 10 at the 46. Here's Fiedler dancing. Finds Travis Minor. And Minor gets down the sideline, picks up the first down. Paul Spicer with the tackle after a gain of 11. And Brent, Miami has an ability to kind of nickel and dime you to death.
Well, and that's exactly, Gus, what they've got to do. Spread the ball. Watch center number 61, Tim Ruddy. Gus, get out and make the block downfield, allowing Minor to get upfield. You see him just in the corner of your picture right there, making a big block, and Minor picking up the first down. And we've seen a lot of different players, and Ruddy coming back from an injury, getting a chance to start this week, and it's the leader of that offensive line, the Miami Dolphins.
Missed last week because of a knee injury against the Giants. First and 10 at the 34. Play action. Fiedler setting up deep, looking for Chambers. Whoa! Chambers was open. Now let's go to New York. Jim Nance with another NFL update.
All right, on this 80-yard drive for Green Bay, Gus, Favre was 6 for 6. He finds his tight end, Bubba Franks, hauling him in. Those touchdowns like tight end Bubba Jones. Let's go back to you.
All right, but now we'll see if they can stop Dante Hall on the kickoff.
I was just thinking, there you go. I wish I was like Dante Hall.
4 kickoff returns in 4 games. Wow. Is he one of the best at that ever?
I'd have to say so. I mean, that's so significant at this point in the season.
Here's Ricky Williams. And Williams goes down at the 33. Brett, break this game down for us a little bit. What should we pay attention to?
Well, Gus, it's going to be so important for this Jags defense to get penetration. Watch the guard here. Jamie Nails to be leading Ricky Williams on Dolphins. One of their favorite plays, the counter. You see the penetration into the backfield? That bungs up the hole. Everybody's all over the place. That's what you have to do to stop this Dolphins running game. Not a lot of teams have been able to get penetration. So your defensive line has to play on the offensive line side of the ball. Thus far today, the Jags haven't had a whole lot of success doing that.
Third down, you're a star now. Got your own breakdown and everything.
Hey, geez.
Third down, 9 at the 33. They need to go to the 24. Here's Fiedler, steps up, batted down, incomplete. Marcus Stroud, the third-year man out of Georgia, got a hand on it, and the Dolphins have a decision to make.
And Marcus Stroud and John Henderson inside. You talked about two of the best in the league. A couple of behemoths, 6'6", 6'7". You see Stroud right there, giving Jay Fiedler a little love rap. And Jack Del Rio told us how important it was to convert on third down, offensively and defensively.
Brings on Alindo Mare into attempt a 51-yarder. It's down, up, and good. But a flag on the play. 51-yarder good for Mare.
And Gus, I think they're going to call 12 men on the field. Hugh Douglas was trying to sprint off the field for the Jags. You know the old rule about taking points off the board. It wouldn't be an automatic first down anyway, so they're just going to decline the penalty, I'd imagine. Unless it's against the Dolphins. I saw Hugh Douglas running off. A little discussion down there trying to figure it out.
There's no foul for too many men on the field. There were 11 men on the field, and he was running off. Field goal is good.
All right, Walt. Very nice explanation.
There you go.
3:12 to go in the first, and Miami takes a 10-0 lead.
The NFL on CBS is sponsored by Serta. We make the world's best mattress. And by Budweiser.
Ten to nothing, Miami leads Jacksonville as the rain is starting to come down here at Alltel Stadium on the banks of the St. Johns River. 10-0. Miami, all their points coming off 2 Jacksonville turnovers. Alindo Mare sends it away. David Allen camps under it and takes a knee in the end zone. So we'll see if Byron Leftwich and the Jacksonville offense can get something going right after this. Junior Seau out of the lineup today because of a hamstring injury. His replacement is Tommy Hendricks, fourth-year man out of the University of Michigan, who they really like in Miami. Jacksonville takes over at their own 20-yard line, first down and 10. Out of the shotgun, underneath, Jimmy Smith with the catch. And he gets close to the first down. You can't turn the ball over, Brent, in the NFL.
No, and especially if you're playing against the Miami Dolphins, their defense loves to make things happen. 8 turnovers coming into this game that they've caused, at least in the last 3 games, actually. And you see Jeff Scanina going there right there with the tip ball by Jason Taylor making the big grab. And I think Fred Taylor was holding that ball a little loosely going into a big pile up that first time around.
Second down and 2 at the 28. A handoff, Fred Taylor trying to break it outside, bottled up, and we'll lose yardage on the play. Jason Taylor wrapping him up.
And it's so important right now for this Jags offense to stick with their plan. Keep Fred Taylor running the ball. Even if he gets no yards or 1 yard like right here, or even loses a little bit, you've got to keep the pressure and the pass rush off your rookie quarterback. And we saw this last week in New England. Jack Del Rio's got to not abandon the run at this point. Got to continue to pound it up in there against this Dolphins defense.
Third down and 1 at the 29. Inside handoff, Edwards leans forward, gets the first down. But just to add to your point about Fred Taylor running the ball, when they defeated San Diego last week, he rushed a season-high 27 times for 87 yards. But as you said, it really loosened a lot of things up for Byron Leftwich en route to his 300-yard game.
So important, Gus. You've got to have a threat of the run, and to be able to abandon it at this point would just be ridiculous. You see 1:30 left in the first quarter. Still too early. Stick with your game plan. Use the play action. Get Jimmy Smith a little more involved.
Draw play, Taylor. And Fred Taylor goes down, wrapped up at the 35 by Romero. Tonight on CBS, Catherine Morris stars in TV's most watched new drama. Don't miss Cold Case tonight after 60 Minutes on CBS.
And we mentioned this Dolphins defense with 8 turnovers in the last 3 games. That's 10 now. And we haven't even seen Sam Madison and Patrick Surtain yet today. They are licking their chops going against a rookie quarterback.
Second down 7 at the 35. Leftwich looks, knocked down at the line of scrimmage again. This time it's Ogunleye.
And one of the skills that you teach your defensive linemen is get those hands up. And one of the things that we just mentioned too, keeping an eye on those defensive backs with the Dolphins, both those corners, Pro Bowl type players, Patrick Surtain, Sam Madison, they are everywhere. Great closing ability, and they are going to be looking at Byron Leftwich's eyes today, see if he's telegraphing some of those passes. Surtain, of course, tied for the lead in the National Football League with 4 interceptions right there. And Sam Madison, we know what he can do as well on the outside.
Third down 7 at the 35. Leftwich out of the gun, gets it off and caught. Beautiful throw. Troy Edwards with the grab. A first down, a gain of 15.
And you talked about Byron Leftwich being a gunslinger, throwing it right in a narrow window. And let's watch Troy Edwards. And you gotta like the story of Troy Edwards. You see him finding that soft spot. Wow, that was close. Right over Surtain's outstretched arms. And the Troy Edwards story, he was a first-round draft choice of the Steelers here a few years back. Didn't work out there, went to the Rams, got cut, came to Jacksonville, and Jack Del Rio told us this young man is hungry to make an impact. He's soaking up everything like a sponge.
Here's Fred Taylor spinning, and Taylor still running. Finally slung to the ground at midfield by Marlon Greenwood. 10-0 the score at the end of the first quarter. We'll return to Alltel Stadium right after this message. Start of the second quarter, Dolphins with a 10-0 lead. Jacksonville with the ball at midfield. Gus Johnson, Brent Jones with you from Alltel Stadium. Jaguars face with a second down and 10. Fred Taylor in motion out of the backfield. Empty backfield for Leftwich and some movement at the line of scrimmage. Jason Taylor may have gotten an early jump.
Offside, 99, defense. 5-yard penalty, still second down.
Hey, you're getting a good eye for that.
Yeah, hanging around you.
There you go. Jason Taylor, half sack coming into the game. Even though he hasn't had a sack, he's been disruptive. Tipping that ball that Jeff Scanina intercepted.
Brings up second down 5 at the 45. Leftwich out of the shotgun. And another penalty coming up against Jacksonville, rather against Miami. This ball complete at the 35. Jimmy Smith with the grab, a gain of 11.
I think that was Jay Williams this time.
And they will decline it.
Offside, 91, defense. Penalties declined. Play results in a first down.
Jay Williams.
And the Jags are going on a hard count, and you don't usually want to try to confuse your rookie quarterback. It just shows you the trust that Jack Del Rio has in Byron Leftwich, because it's been very effective for the Dolphins.
Leftwich
against the Dolphins, actually.
Leftwich feels very comfortable out of the shotgun. Played a lot of shotgun at Marshall. First and 10 at the 35. Brady in motion. Here's the handoff to Taylor. And Fred Taylor goes down. Gus Johnson along with Brent Jones. They talk about Byron Leftwich not locking onto a receiver. What does that mean?
At the snap of the ball, he can't be looking at his wide receiver. He can't be looking at Jimmy Smith, takes the snap, looking downfield. Patrick Surtain and Sam Madison are looking for him to follow the receiver. He's got to survey the field, look around, then come back to his receiver the last second or two. If he follows him the whole way, these guys are going to jump those routes big time, and they're going to come up with some picks.
So let's pay attention as Byron Leftwich to see if he locks onto his guys. Play action. Leftwich going up top. Almost intercepted. Jimmy Smith, the intended receiver, and a flag. Brock Marion will be called for pass interference.
And I think there was some contact by Brock Marion right around the 10 or 12-yard line. And I think he thought Jimmy Smith was going to be coming across, and Jimmy Smith was actually going to the post. And Brock Marion saying, hey, he smashed into me.
Pass interference, 31, defense. Automatic, first down.
And let's watch Jimmy Smith on the outside right here coming across. You see him going to the post, and there Brock Marion just tries to cut off his route. He gets his arm, his shoulder inside. And Jimmy Smith knew it right away, and so did the officials. And Brock Marion doing an old veteran trick. Didn't make the Pro Bowl for nothing.
First and 10 at the 15-yard line for the Jaguars. Here's the handoff. Taylor running straight ahead, lowers his shoulder. Gets to the 12-yard line, stopped by middle linebacker Zach Thomas. Monday on an all-new Late Show, Dave welcomes actress Halle Berry, plus 5-time Tour de France champion Lance Armstrong and the latest Survivor castaway. Dave's all-new Monday right here on CBS. Brings up second down and 7 at the 12. This season for the Jaguars, they have scored on 11 of their 12 red zone possessions, 7 touchdowns, 4 field goals.
Remember, field goals aren't your friend until the fourth quarter.
Second and 7. Empty backfield. Leftwich pulls it down and fires it out of bounds. But this Miami red zone defense has been very good this season.
Look at this. 12 times the opponents have had the ball in the red zone. Only 1 touchdown. You don't care about field goals. You're going to get that only 5. Look at that. 3 interceptions. You talk about having an impact defense, and the Dolphins, yardage-wise, haven't been as solid. They've been getting up a lot of yards, but in the red zone, they are not allowing anything.
Bill Bates, the defensive coordinator, a man that doesn't get enough credit.
Big Jim Bates.
Excuse me, Jim Bates. And Jim has got this team playing great football. Third down and 7 at the 12.
Well, I think we're going to have the Jags that time.
Prior to the snap, false start, 65, offense. 5-yard penalty, still third down.
And that time the hard count got Naoli. And we talked about how important it is to be efficient here in the red zone, and Jack Del Rio getting a little frustrated. Obviously a passing situation. And the one thing I've been impressed with, Gus, the Jags have continued to run the ball. Maybe not a lot of success running, but let's hear the snap count here. See if Leftwich tries to get him offside.
Leftwich pumping, looking in the end zone, incomplete. And a flag on the play.
And Gus, I think they're going to get Zach Thomas on Troy Edwards. Zach, you've only got 5 yards to Chuck, and he got him about 10 yards downfield, Troy Edwards, and Zach Thomas. Contact downfield, and that's a mismatch. You get your wide receiver going against the linebacker down the seam.
And it's against Miami.
And big break on 3rd and 12.
And talking to other coaches.
Pass interference, 54, defense, automatic, first down.
And talking to some other coaches, one of the weaknesses of the Dolphins defense is their linebackers in coverage.
Yeah, just in coverage, and you're going to see right there, gets tangled up. In fact, Zach looks like he's backpedaling. He's out of position. His hips should have already been turned. You see him turn those hips late, so he had to make contact, or Troy Edwards is right by him.
And that's the second pass interference penalty on this drive. First down and goal at the 3. Jaguars desperately need to get in for their confidence. And another flag.
And it looked like the Jags might have been moving on the left side of the line. I don't know if that was Kyle Brady getting a head start. That's a couple times now.
Prior to the snap, false start, 72, offense. 5-yard penalty, still first down.
Mike Pearson.
And you can understand Mike Pearson being a little bit anxious. Jason Taylor in your face all day, and Pearson's done a nice job thus far. Very athletic tackle, and just a little quick right there. And sometimes that's not a bad thing. You know, you pull the ball back, allow your receivers a little bit more room to work, and have a little bit more room to stretch the back of the end zone.
First down and goal at the 8. Leftwich out of the shotgun. with time underneath, caught, and they get down to the 2. Troy Edwards somehow found a very soft spot right behind the linebackers, and Sammy Knight, the safety, brings him down.
And you know, we've seen Byron Leftwich pump the ball a few times. That's a very mature thing. You see him just trying to pump, move guys. You see him move the linebackers. Then Troy Edwards all of a sudden sits in that hole. So that pump moves Zach Thomas a yard to his right, creating the hole for Troy Edwards. And we talked about Troy Edwards and his hunger. And that's what happens. You know, you're a first-round draft choice. You get bounced around the league a couple times, and you think, this could be my last stop. And Jack Del Rio's been impressed with his wide receiver.
2 catches, 21 yards so far for Edwards, who has a touchdown in 2 consecutive games. Timeout called by the Jaguars. Coming up on the Nextel halftime report, join Boomer Esiason, Deion Sanders, Dan Marino, and Jim Nance for all the scores and highlights. That's all coming up on the Nextel halftime report.
And this is where sticking with that run pays off, because you can use your play-action fake and suck some linebackers and safety up into the line.
2nd and goal at the 2, 13th play of the drive that started at the Jacksonville 20. Fred Taylor, play action. Leftwich in the end zone, and he dumps it. Nobody open. Miami not biting on the play fake, and that'll bring up 3rd down and goal.
And sometimes when you're a rookie quarterback, a thrown ball out of the end zone or just a throwaway is one of your best plays, instead of trying to force it in there. And we've been impressed watching film on Byron Leftwich, and thus far today he's really handled it well. Mature. The interception, obviously the cause by a tip of Jason Taylor.
3rd down goal at the 2. Chris Fuamata-Maafala in the lineup as the deep man. Here's Fu, and Fuamata-Maafala is dropped by Rob Burnett. Rob Burnett came from the side and got to Fuamata-Maafala.
Didn't look like Rob Burnett was blocked from up here. Here he is right here on the outside. You see him up. It's the old swim move inside. And Rob Burnett, great veteran. And you don't let Fuamata-Maafala get a full head of steam. And when you're playing goal line offense, you can't let your defender swim you inside. That's a big mistake.
So it brings on Seth Marler, who's made 5 consecutive field goals to attempt a 20-yarder. Down, up, and good. So Jacksonville gets on the board. 11:24 to go in the 2nd quarter. Dolphins lead it 10-3.
The NFL on CBS is sponsored by the next Ford F-150, built Ford tough. CDW, the right technology right away. And by Residence Inn, your Marriott awaits.
10-3, Miami with the lead over the Jaguars. Jaguars go on a 15-play drive covering 78 yards, but they have to settle for a Seth Marler field goal. And what's your mantra?
Field goals aren't your friend. Unless it's a game-winning one.
Here's Charlie Rogers a yard deep in his own end zone, and some nice special teams coverage by the Jaguars. He's dropped at the 15 by Danny Clark.
And we always show big replays of touchdowns. Do we ever show defensive replays? Watch Rob Burnett right here. This is why the Dolphins have been so successful in the red zone. Lines up outside, swims his man underneath. Watch this move. Fakes him out by lining up outside, comes down, crashes inside, gets that arm over, bang. And you can see the hole that would have been there. Fuamata-Maafala would have walked into the end zone. Rob Burnett making a huge stop. And now it's 13 times in the red zone this year and only 1 touchdown for this Dolphins defense.
1st and 10 at the 17 for the Dolphins. Ricky Williams lines up in the eye. Here's Ricky spinning at the point of contact and somehow makes something out of nothing. Always making something out of nothing in New York is Jim Nance.
All right, guys, here's the update from Lambeau Field. A quick 14-0 lead. Green Bay, Trent Green, though, leads Kansas City back. Hit Johnny Morton on a couple of crucial throws. And then it's Tony Gonzalez for the touchdown. 14-7, 2nd quarter, back to you.
Tony Gonzalez, you love to see those tight ends catching the ball over the middle, don't you?
Yeah, he caught a big touchdown last week on a corner route, and it looked like the Packers might have forgot to cover Tony. Don't just worry about Dante Hall.
Gonzalez with 7 touchdowns last year, 2nd and 8 at the 19. Here's Fiedler looking. Fiedler with time, dumps it off. And that is Obafemi and Badejo picking up the first down. The former Raven and Viking, a gain of 9. Aiken Adele tripping him up.
And this is just a great decision by Jay Fiedler. Receivers covered down the field, hit Ian Badejo in the flat, nobody out there, 6 yards to run. You see him go right past Fernando Bryant, gets up and makes a big first down. Don't force the ball, and that's what Jay has to continue to do.
1st and 10 at the 28-yard line. Here comes a blitz. Ricky Williams breaks it outside. Ricky Williams still running. Down the sideline, out of bounds at the 45. Flag on the play. Maybe a late hit on Donovan Darius.
I think so. That's going to tack on another 15.
But Jacksonville gets caught on a blitz. And Miami makes them pay.
And you said it. Here comes the blitz. That takes your second level of defense away. And if Ricky Williams can break through.
Personal foul, unnecessary roughness, 20 defense, hitting the runner out of bounds, 15-yard penalty, first down.
And we're going to see the penetration, but on a draw, they've already run past it. You see the backers already past it. There's the hole outside. Ricky Williams hits that hole quickly, running downhill. And you hear about people talking about running downhill all the time. What does that mean? It means you got 3 or 4 yards head start. You got a full momentum. And here's Darius. Chopped to the head and out of bounds as well. It's a double whammy.
1st and 10 at the 29 for the Dolphins. Williams 7 carries, 52 yards. They fake the reverse. Set up a screen. Minor trying to get outside, and he may have gained a yard. Fernando Bryant brings him down. Oakland playing pretty well on the road against Cleveland. Here's Jim Nance.
All right, thank you there, fellas. Raiders at Cleveland, yes, and Rich Gannon looking to the end zone for the rookie, Teo Johnson. Out of Stanford, he hauls it in for his first career touchdown. 7-3 Oakland, 2nd quarter. Back to you.
Another big tight end making a touchdown grab. A lot of expectations for Teo Johnson in the Bay Area this year.
2nd and 10 at the 29. Minor outside with the blocker. And he goes down at the 20. Nice block by Todd Perry. Mike Peterson knocking out Minor, or knocking Minor out of bounds.
And Todd Perry, the right guard, you're going to have a tough angle. You can see number 75. Watch him sneaking up, and Minor does a nice job of just waiting for that block to develop. Nice job of being patient. You can't run up the back of your offensive lineman. Allow them to execute the block and then break off whatever way they knock the defender.
1st and 10 at the 18. Donald Lee lines up the tight end at the top of your screen. Here's the pitch to Ricky Williams. They run that way, and Williams wrestled to the ground by Lionel Barnes, but a flag on the play.
And I think Marcus Stroud was getting held on that last play from that defensive tackle position.
Holding, 61, offense, 10-yard penalty, still first down.
It's Tim Ruddy to center.
And Tim Ruddy has his hands full with Marcus Stroud. 6'6", 320 pounds. And let's watch Stroud right here and Ruddy, the matchup. That is a big boy to block, and you see Ruddy get initial position, and then, well, I don't know about that. I think you see officials throw the flag sometimes on a takedown. Stroud's tripped over his one player, and Ruddy just kept going. That's a bad call.
Jaguars catch a break, 1st and 20 at the 28. Balanced attack for the Dolphins. Williams. Another flag, and Ricky goes down at the 29.
And I think this time Paul Spicer, the defensive end, was getting held to the Jags. Now that last call I didn't like at all. That was just a trip takedown. Ruddy wasn't holding. And let's see who gets nailed on this one. Spicer's playing the defensive end, so it's probably the tackle on the right side of the Dolphins offense.
Holding, 30, offense, 10-yard penalty, still first down.
Obafemi Ayanbadeja.
No excuse for a fullback to be holding. See those arms outside? Get them inside the framework. There's no reason whatsoever for a fullback to get those arms outside. And not only that, the takedown. You got to get your arms and your hands inside the framework. If the officials see those hands up, that is going to be a hold every time.
5 penalties, 59 yards against the Dolphins. First down and 30 at the 38. They need to go to the 9 for first down. Here's Fiedler down the sideline. Picked off Kraft. He starts his run back. Kraft trying to get free. And goes down at the 35. Darius Thompson brings him down, but it's a 19-yard return for Jason Kraft. And Miami has turned it over. 7:16 to go in the second quarter. 10-3 Dolphins.
And Gus, we hear all the time about cover 2. Here's cover 2. The safety's getting wide and the corner's in zone. But watch Jason Kraft's hips. He's got to stop and go to the tight end. You see, he's going back downfield to the receiver. This is the throw for Jay Fiedler. But Jason Kraft keeps growing back into the route, and that's a force. When you see those hips turn, you've got to hit the tight end in the flat.
Jacksonville takes over at the 37, incomplete. Intended for Jimmy Smith.
And that's the decision-making process that we've talked about with Jay Fiedler. Here's Chris Chambers. You see him into double coverage. You see Kraft's right there. He's the whole time. He never respected the tight end route. You've got to hit your tight end McMichael in that situation if the corner is soft, if he's giving ground. Though so many times you'll see that cover 2, and the corner will be right there covering that flat route, which sometimes he's supposed to do. Then you've got that window to throw into.
Second down and 10 at the 37. Leftwich 5 of 11. 56 yards and an interception. Over the middle, caught Jimmy Smith. And Jimmy goes down at the 45. An 8-yard pickup. Sam Madison brings him down. And Jimmy Smith missed the first 4 games after he violated the league's substance abuse policy. But last week he came back with a vengeance. 8 catches, 137 yards against San Diego. He's now in 18th place on the NFL's all-time receiving list.
And Brock Marion and all the defenders for the Miami Dolphins said, we have 2 things. Our game plan today is stop number 28 and stop number 82.
Third down and 2 at the 45. Fred Taylor. And Taylor picks up the first down at midfield. Gained 6 yards. And we just talked about Jimmy and Mark Brunell missing his second game with an elbow injury.
Yeah, and I think Jack Del Rio came out this week and said, at this point, Byron Leftwich is our guy, and Mark Brunell has been the franchise here in Jacksonville. And I don't know if there's a quarterback in this league that I have more respect for. The way that he's handled himself on the field, he's a champion. He's handled himself well off the field. He's going to be there supporting Byron Leftwich, which Byron told us, helping him learn the offense and go through the whole process.
First down and 10 at the 49. Here's the play action fake. Leftwich up the sideline. Got it. Troy Edwards. Incomplete, though. He was out of bounds.
Boy, and he just probably wasn't able to keep that second foot in. But a nice little out and up move. And Byron Leftwich comes back to it, and you see it, puts the ball right on the money. And, yep, just got his hips turned around. Troy Edwards, sometimes when you get up and watch this move, little out and swim move right by Sam Madison, but that ball's a little behind him. You see him, he had to turn his hips around. And when you're up in the air, Gus, and you have to turn those hips, you're going to get that first foot, but that second one is tough to get back in position. But an impact that Edwards has been making on this offense for the Jags.
Makes it 2nd and 10 at the 49. Here's the handoff. Taylor looking for some running room. Fred Taylor trying to get outside, out of bounds at the 45. Marlon Greenwood, first man to him after a gain of 4.
And we talked about the Dolphins saying how much their game plan is to stop Fred Taylor, to stop Jimmy Smith. And we've seen Troy Edwards get a couple of opportunities. And somebody beside Fred Taylor is going to have to step up for Jacksonville. You see the block right there, Mark Edwards and Jimmy Smith working hard outside. And hey, maybe only 3 or 4 yards, but you've got to keep the pass rush off your rookie quarterback. And we've seen the Jags continue to go to Fred Taylor. You see 11 rushes so far, only 24 yards, but it still helps your play action game.
3rd down 6 at the 45. They're 5 of 7 on 3rd down conversions. They need to go to the Miami 39 for a 1st down and a flag on the play prior to the snap. And I believe the Jaguars took too much time.
Delay. Offense. 5-yard penalty. Still 3rd down.
Rookie mistake by Byron Leftwich.
I guess it's the little things. We've seen a penalty, a false start there inside the 5 for the Jags, and then a crucial 3rd down right there, 3rd and 5 and 3rd and 6 to be backed up. Now it's 3rd and 11.
At midfield. Leftwich going down the sideline, picked off. Madison. Sam Madison up the sideline, and he's dropped at the 45. 3rd turnover of the game for the Jaguars.
And guys, I think Byron Leftwich would love to have that one back. And it looked to me, we talked about his eyes, it looked like he was looking down that way the whole time. You see the end of the play, and the ball just sailed on him, and we talked about it being a little wet and drizzling out there, but just right over Jimmy Smith's head. But Sam Madison was right down there, and you see the double coverage, and you see Madison just going down the field and rolling back. His player stopped, and he just kept going down the field, was in great position, and I think that's a situation, Gus, where Sam Madison was absolutely reading Byron Leftwich's eyes the whole time.
2nd interception for Leftwich in the 1st half. 4:26 to go, 1st and 10 at the 47. Williams and Ricky may lose a half yard on the play. Fernando Bryant plugging up a hole.
Williams up the middle. Tackled by Tony Brackett.
Now a great night of television. CBS Monday starts with Yes Dear, followed by Still Standing. Then it's Everybody Loves Raymond, Charlie Sheen and 2.5 Men, CSI Miami, and it wraps up with David Letterman and The Late Show. That's Monday on CBS, America's most watched network. 2nd down 10 at the 47. Fiedler underneath. Iambadojo with the catch. And Obafemi picks up 5 yards. Aiken Adele with the tackle.
And you have to, other than the one throw by Jay Fiedler, you have to respect the way that he spread the ball around using his other weapons. And we talked about that at the top of the show. It can't just be the Ricky Williams show. And when the Jags have to start thinking of other things, other receivers, other backs, then all of a sudden you start creating some creases inside for Ricky Williams.
Fiedler 7 of 11. 3rd down, 3 at the 46. Empty backfield. Here comes Fiedler. Quick throw, and it's incomplete. What a beautiful hit by Fernando Bryant. Intended for James McKnight, but Bryant closing on the football instantly.
Well, and Jay Fiedler is going to see man-to-man coverage, and he's going to try to hit James McKnight. Made a big play for him on the reverse last week. McKnight just looking it in, and just a quick double grab, a double clutch there on the ball. Gives Bryant a time to run right through the tackle and big stick.
Miami sends it away. And this one will be down deep inside Jacksonville territory. A 43-yard punt by Matt Turk. Fernando Bryant dancing a little.
The NFL on CBS is sponsored by Old Navy Painter's Pants. They'll work for you. And by Applebee's Neighborhood Grill and Bar. Eating good in the neighborhood. Applebee's.
City tied it up. Welcome back, 10-3. Dolphins with the lead, but the Jaguars have the ball at their own 4-yard line. 1st down and 10. Fred Taylor behind Byron Leftwich along with Mark Edwards, the fullback. Play action. Fumble. And Leftwich luckily gets a bounce and covers it up. Jason Taylor swipes it away.
Boy, and Jason Taylor got pressure right off the bat. And here you're standing in the back of the end zone, Gus, watching this one. Watch Jason Taylor coming right through inside and club. You see him grab the right arm of Byron Leftwich, and Byron gets a break. That ball sat on the ground, and maybe the ground's starting to get a little wet, but the ball didn't kick up at all, and he was able to fall right on it. Jason Taylor, and we've mentioned not the sack total, but he's definitely made his presence known today.
Getting a lot of pressure today. Knocked the ball away. Has also batted one down. 2nd and 11. At the Jacksonville 3. Pump fake. Leftwich dumps it off to Taylor. And Fred Taylor picks up a couple yards on the play. Marlon Greenwood brings him down at the 5. And that brings us to the 2-minute warning. 2 minutes. Dolphins up 10-3. 10-3 Miami. Jason Taylor credited with his first full sack of the season after stripping Byron Leftwich 2 plays ago. Ball was recovered behind the line of scrimmage. 3rd down 9 at the 5. Here's Leftwich under pressure. Gets it off. Kyle Grady, the tight end, shot down before he gets to the 1st down by Sam Madison.
And Gus, it's the little things. That was a huge tackle by Sam Madison. Allows the Dolphins to call a big timeout and get that ball back.
Coming up on the Nextel halftime report, join Jim, Dan, Deanna, and Boomer for all the scores and highlights on the Nextel halftime report. Mark Royals in the front. He almost has this one blocked. Royals gets it away. A flag on the play. Charlie Rogers at the 40. And Charlie Rogers finally brought down, fumbles. Loose ball. And Charlie Rogers down at the 45.
And the whistle obviously blown. That's not reviewable. But there will be a roughing the kicker penalty, Gus. And I don't think it's going to be running into the kicker. I think it's going to be a full roughing on the other Ian Badejo.
Personal foul, roughing the kicker, number 50, defense. 15-yard penalty, 1st down.
That's Brendan Ayanbadejo, the younger brother of Obafemi Ayanbadejo, out of UCLA.
And Brendan almost had the block. You see him just going down the last second.
I don't know about that.
Yeah, you know what, though? If you obstruct the punter's leg, you know, they've got to protect the punters, too. But you know what? Yeah, you're right. That's a running into. Mark Royals, former Dolphin. Nice act. Got himself 15 yards and the team 1st down. And you know, you got to think, if you're Jacksonville, hey, let's go right into the 2-minute drill. Let's try to get some more points on the board.
1st and 10 at the 28. Leftwich. Hit as he releases the football. All kinds of pressure on Byron Leftwich today. Jason Taylor has been getting up the field.
Yeah, no Tim Bowens today for this Dolphins defense, but they've all risen to the occasion. You see the pressure inside of Ogunleye and Jason Taylor, and I think ball was just tipped right there at the end. Jason Taylor, you know, a lot of pressure. You see the nice spin move outside. And
that was Wale Ogunleye getting pressure on Leftwich that time. 2nd and 10. And some movement, Mike Pearson.
Boy, and that's what happens. Now we've seen Mike Pearson 2 times.
Prior to the snap, false start, 72. Offense, 5-yard penalty. Still 2nd down.
And Mike Pearson has done such a good job for the Jags, and their offensive line of Jack Del Rio's team has been one of the strong points thus far this year. But when you're going against a Jason Taylor, you've got your hands full, and you can see Jason Taylor is starting to get in Pearson's head a little bit.
2nd down, 15 at the 23. Here's a handoff. Fred Taylor, nowhere to go. Ogunleye brings him down, but we had a great story told to us yesterday during our meeting with Dave Wanstead about Jason Taylor. He had never really faced criticism until after the Houston game. According to Coach Wanstead, he was driving down the road. A fan a Dolphins fan pulled up to him and said, "Jason, you're horrible. You're one of the worst players ever, and you need to get your act in gear." And Taylor wanted to follow the guy, but he had to suck it up and take it. And the Dolphins have taken that particular game personally, and they know that some of those Miami Dolphin fans will jump on and off of the bandwagon week to week, as they told us.
Yeah, well, they got the wake-up call week 1 against the Texans. And
we called that game.
And yes, we did. And they needed a wake-up call. And sometimes that's the best thing for you.
Now Thursday on CBS, this will wake you up. See why Entertainment Weekly calls the new Survivor so good. This week, one tribe's most valuable player is stolen by the other. Now, will Rupert jump ship and help a team in trouble? Don't miss an all-new Survivor Thursday at 8/7 Central on CBS. Byron Leftwich trying to survive the first half here. He's thrown 2 picks. Faced with a 3rd and 13 at the 25. Leftwich looking, sets up a screen. Fred Taylor can't get outside, and Tommy Hendricks, along with Agoulier, dropping him, a 4-yard gain. As the clock continues to run, 1:05 and counting.
And that's a good save call. Rookie quarterback, 3rd down, run the screen. You know, maybe Fred Taylor picks up the 1st down, but you don't want to make another crucial turnover at this point. You're only down 7.
Mark Royals standing at the 15. Charlie Rogers back at his own 25. So if you're Jacksonville, Brett, you've turned it over 3 times, but down by only a touchdown. Yeah. It's not bad.
You know, we've given Miami's defense an awful lot of credit. We've got to give the Jags defense credit as well. They've really bent a little bit, but they haven't broken.
Timeout, Jacksonville. Fourth down and 9 for the Jaguars. Mark Royal stands at his own 14. This one off the side of his foot. But he lucks up, and it takes a Jacksonville bounce out of bounds inside the 30. A 43-yard punt. Next Saturday on the Home Depot SEC on CBS, Chris Leak. Now the Florida Gators tangle with Cedric Cobbs and the Razorbacks of Arkansas. The action begins with Tim Brando and Spencer Tillman on Olympus College football today. Florida with a big win on the road against LSU yesterday, and Arkansas losing. Arkansas top 10 team.
Yeah, what a big loss. You know, you break into the top 10 and you start believing your press clippings.
Auburn 10-3 win over the Razorbacks.
And it looks like the Dolphins, Gus, are just going to kill it here before halftime. Not great field position to go into that 2-minute drill. No timeouts, 27 seconds.
Jay Fiedler takes a knee. And that will be the end of the first half as Dave Wanstad and Jack Del Rio both head to their locker rooms. Ricky Williams ran the ball a little bit, 8 carries, 53 yards in the first half, but Jacksonville still in this game, 10-3 at the end of 1. And we'll send you to Jim Nantz in the studio for the next halftime report after this message and a word from your local station. You're watching the National Football League on CBS. Dolphins by 7 as we begin the second half. Gus Johnson along with Brent Jones, sloppily played first half, a lot of turnovers, a lot of penalties, but if you're Jacksonville, you feel comfortable about where you are, only down by a touchdown.
You're exactly right. Of course, 3 turnovers, you'd think, boy, we'd be really scrambling. Only 10 Miami points off that. Their defense has stiffened up a little bit. And I think offensively, they got to keep giving the ball to Fred Taylor. We've talked about that all game. Try to wear down that defense for Miami, maybe get a big one outside.
All right, let's take a look at the statistics from the first half of play. And Brent, take us through them. What jumps out at you?
Well, you know, I think the rushing yards of the Dolphins, they got to keep going to Ricky Williams. You know, we've talked about them spreading the ball around, and I think that's loosened up some creases inside. They've had some opportunities to make some plays in the passing game down the field, and whether it's the receivers or Jay Fiedler, they haven't really executed those. Of course, the turnovers are significant, and that's probably the story of the first half.
So points off turnovers, 10 points for the Dolphins. First, it was Fred Taylor fumbling the football inside Jacksonville territory. Then Byron Leftwich having a ball deflected by Jason Taylor, recovered or intercepted rather, by Jeff Scanina. So Leftwich going against Jay Fiedler today, and here's the quarterback comparison.
And you see right now the 2 interceptions, and really one of those was a tip ball by Byron Leftwich. He only wanted to go into double coverage. His eyes were focused the whole time. Jay Fiedler did the same thing on the other side of the ball, and so a couple quarterbacks trying to make some things happen in the passing game away from their big-time running backs. Just been average first half for both of those guys.
Miami will get the ball to start the second half. Gus Johnson, Brent Jones with you from Alltel Stadium in Jacksonville. Marler sends it away. Charlie Rogers fields it at the 11. And Charlie Rogers breaks the tackle, still running. Rogers ushered out of bounds by James Trapp at the 35, a 25-yard return. And a look at the leaders offensively for the Miami Dolphins.
We talked about Jay Fiedler. He spread the ball around a little bit. One forced bad pass. Needs to make some things happen downfield. Of course, Ricky Williams, he's always going to be the rushing leader. Only 8 rushes. Look for them to go to Ricky more the second half. Chris Chambers leading the receivers with only 2 grabs. This is a big play wide receiver. They've got to get him down the field. And if you're Miami, if you can't pass against Jacksonville's secondary, you're going to be in trouble. Jacksonville's secondary hasn't been their strong suit this year.
First down and 10 at the 36-yard line. Ricky Williams. And Williams hog-tied and taken down by Tony Brackens. He'll lose yardage on the play.
And we've seen Tony Brackens around the ball a couple times today, coming back from that knee injury last year. He's got 3 sacks coming in today. Watch him at the bottom of the screen, getting inside the tight end. We've seen that a couple times. You can't allow penetration inside. If you're a tight end, you've got to get your head across the defender, because a defender's strength and closest point to the ball is beating you inside.
Loss of 2, second and 12 at the 34. Fiedler straight drop back, looking over the middle, off at midfield. What a catch by Darius Thompson, the former Redskin. A gain of 16 yards. Rasheem Mathis nails it.
And Darius Thompson had a big season last year with the Redskins. It's been a little quiet this year, running a nice crossing route. Jay Fiedler putting it on the numbers. You see him come across, use that body to get between him and the defender. And Jay Fiedler putting it right where Darius Thompson wanted it.
Signed as an unrestricted free agent from Washington. First and 10 at midfield. Here's Fiedler. Scrambles out of the pocket, throws on the run, incomplete. Closest man of the football, Chris Chambers, but he was covered by Fernando Bryant.
And I think Jay Fiedler was just throwing that ball away. Of course, the pressure early from Brackens, and Jay Fiedler's just going to have to get rid of that ball once the pocket broke. And you know, you just feel like if you're a Dolphins offensive player, they just haven't come up with that big play. And Chris Chambers is a big play wide receiver. Of course, you've got Ricky Williams. We saw Darius Thompson catch the ball. But you know, another guy that just goes unsaid so often is Randy McMichael. Why don't you use the big tight end?
Second and 10 at midfield. Fiedler in trouble, goes down. What a great individual effort by Tony Brackens as he comes up with his 4th sack of the season.
Boy, and so much talk this offseason about Hugh Douglas coming over to Jacksonville, but Tony Brackens has been the guy. You see this time going outside on the ground. What a great effort. You called it, Gus. On the ground, sliding, just slapping at Jay Fiedler's ankle when he was already down. Tony Brackens, and we've seen him be a very big impact player over the years for this Jacksonville defense.
Third down, 14 at the 46. They need to go to the Jacksonville 40 for a first down. Fiedler out of the shotgun. Here comes the blitz. Jacksonville bringing everybody over the middle, incomplete. Fiedler just let that one go. And Miami is forced to punt it away.
And you know, we've seen miscommunication, and Coach Wanstadt's a little confused, as are the receivers and the quarterback for the Dolphins. How can you have that confusion? It's not like you're playing together for the first time. And Chris Chambers was looking at Jay Fiedler, and Jay Fiedler was staring back.
Well, yeah, you have to give the Jacksonville Jaguars a little credit.
Well,
there,
yeah, but I think Chris Chambers was open on that play.
This one popped in the air. Allen lets it go, and it bounces into the end zone. Jaguars defense hanging in there. Tony Bracken's coming up with back-to-back big plays. Dolphins will have to play the rest of the game without Rod Conrad. He has a knee injury. So Jacksonville takes over down 10-3 with the ball at their own 20.
And we haven't seen a lot of Jimmy Smith yet today. We saw him a few times here in the first half, but they haven't taken a shot down the field. Maybe that's coming up pretty soon.
Here's a handoff. Fred Taylor looking for a hole. And a look at the Jaguars' offensive leaders. Not much of a gain for Taylor and company. Leftwich 2 picks in the first half.
And we mentioned he's made some good decisions. I think really only one bad at this point. Fred Taylor, 26 yards. You got to keep pounding it up. You got to keep that pass rush of the Dolphins down. And you see Jimmy Smith, we talked about it, only 3 catches, 26 yards. They haven't really taken some cracks downfield.
And that's Fred Taylor down right now. They're looking at his left knee. Taylor has been injury prone during his career. Sensational runner when he's available. And a look at Taylor. He's battled a number of injuries, but the good news is, Brent, he's played 21 straight games without an injury.
And I think even the better news, Gus, is he just jogged off the field. And that's those 21 games, I think, have helped take a little bit of that talk, that buzz that is around the league that he's injury prone. And it's nice to see him on the sideline. You see Jack Del Rio gave him a little pat on the head. That doesn't look like a concerned coach. I'd imagine Fred will be back in there in the next play or two.
Second down and 8 at the 22. Leftwich fires, incomplete, ball broken up at the last moment by Sammy Knight. And this is a great test for Byron Leftwich, because you're playing against 4 Pro Bowl corners in the secondary people rather, for the Dolphins.
Yeah, that's exactly right. And you're going to see Sammy Knight, one of the great Pro Bowlers, drive on that route and gets his arm in front of Kyle Brady. It's a challenge, and of course, people said, and there you see it. Look at all these guys. Look at the Dolphins.
Last
the
4 years.
4 seasons. They're the pick squad. Sammy Knight, of course, coming over from the New Orleans Saints and establishing himself in the AFC.
Third down and 8. Leftwich underneath, and that's the man that you need to find. If you're Byron Leftwich, Kyle Brady.
And we say it all the time. Who is a young quarterback's best friend? Their tight end. It's your shortest routes. It's your most significant opportunities for completion. And if you got a guy like Kyle Brady that has a big body, can use that in good hands, you've got to get him more involved. And just like we talked to Randy McMichael with the Dolphins, I'm surprised he hasn't caught more today.
10th catch of the year for Brady. Leftwich to Jimmy Smith, put that one on a rope, out of bounds inside Miami territory. A gain of 20.
And you judge a quarterback's arm by how he throws those sideline routes. And Byron Leftwich just stepped up and threw a rocket shot to Jimmy Smith going down the left sideline. And watch him stand tall in that pocket. Great mechanics, get that arm back, fire it right in there, Jimmy Smith. And we'd mentioned they hadn't taken a crack at Jimmy down the field. Well, there you have it. Big play for the Jags. Let's see if they can keep the momentum going.
First and 10 at the 46. Here's the handoff to Brandon Totefield. Rookie scat back out of LSU. 4th round pick, won a job during preseason. Gains 4 on the play.
And I was just so impressed in talking to Byron Leftwich, how much maturity he has. Just a good, humble kid, quiet confidence. And he was just such a big man.
He's a big man.
He walked in the room and I thought, oh, they brought us the tight end, or they brought us somebody. It's like, who is this defensive end? It's the quarterback.
A legitimate 6 feet 5 inches. 2nd and 6 at the 42. Here's the handoff. Totefield again with running room. Gets to the 35. Brock Marion with the tackle. And Byron Leftwich from Washington, D.C. And he told us he just bought his mom, Brenda, a new home in Mitchellville, Maryland. And as a kid, he spent his Sundays sneaking into RFK Stadium and watching the Redskins.
I love that, how he talked about crashing the gate. Kind of had a security guard that would fake run after him, but he would just use those wheels and go blowing by him as a 12 and 13-year-old and get lost in the stands.
First and 10 at the 35. Tofield again. And Tofield, nice change of pace back as Marlon Greenwood stops him. Tonight on CBS, a serial rapist who preyed on single women was never caught. Now a new tip will start the hunt all over again. Don't miss TV's most watched new drama cold case tonight after 60 minutes. Well, this Jacksonville Jaguars team starting to warm up a little bit here in the third quarter. Second down, 7 at the Miami 32. Out of the eye. Leister in motion. Leftwich trying to get out of the pocket, and he dumps it. Wisely done by Byron Leftwich. Ogunleye with the pressure.
And it's so important when you're a young quarterback, don't make that dumb throw. You see him, nice job of stepping back and just getting that ball out of bounds. Had a couple receivers over there, no grounding, know your timing. You've got a good drive going. Don't wreck it with an inopportune throw, especially going against these defensive backs in the Miami Dolphins. And we talked about that. A lot of people around the league want to see how Leftwich responds today to this Miami defense.
3rd and 7 at the 32. They're 7 of 11 on third down conversions. They need to go to the 25. And Miami jumps offside. Jay Williams.
And Jay's done that a couple times today, and we talked about Leftwich going with the hard count. That's 3 times he's brought the Dolphins across, and that's going to be a crucial one because that's going to put him at 3rd and 2. And that gives you the run pass option. 3rd and 7 doesn't exactly give you that run option.
Encroachment, defense, 5-yard penalty, still 3rd down.
And so now you can either pound it up inside there. We're going to see Jay Williams jump off sides. That hard count, you see it? You see Leftwich move his head down a couple times, barking it out. And Jack Del Rio has given Byron Leftwich a lot of latitude in this offense. They haven't changed anything. They're operating like he's a 4 or 5 year veteran.
And look, Miami has more penalty yards than passing or rushing yards. Tofield looking for the first down. I don't know. I don't think he got it. He needed to get Flesh to the 25, and he looked short.
You guys, a big decision here for Jack Del Rio. He's gone on 4th down a couple times this year and blown off the field goals.
He's going for it
and
here.
It looks like it. And you know what? You're 1 and 4. You're playing against a team that a lot of people think should be in the Super Bowl. I like this. Go for it. You don't have anything to lose. Don't play it safe.
Mark Edwards, Tofield in the backfield. Out of the offset eye. Here's the handoff. Edwards leads in, and let's see the spot.
And he had to get to the line, maybe even just an inch or 2 beyond it. I think that he's got it. Just from up here, the momentum, and it depends on, of course, where they mark that ball. There's still a bunch of Dolphin players in the way. Boy, you know what, Gus? Not a great mark, I don't think. I thought Edwards was on the line. Let's watch if we can see him carrying the ball inside. There's the momentum. Sure looked like he's right in this range.
Marlon Greenwood.
They marked
really
it short. I think it's going to be short from where that yard marker was. And it is. And you
That's
talk
about an
about
inch.
And you talk about a tough spot, and I thought Edwards got the line.
Wow. A game of inches. Jacksonville turns it over on down.
The NFL on CBS is sponsored by Staples. That was easy. Viagra. Ask your doctor if Viagra is right for you. And by Chevy Silverado. It's the right truck.
Shot of the Jacksonville landing. One of the most popular spots in downtown Jacksonville. Miami takes over at their own 25. First down and 10. Play action. Fiedler rolls out of the pocket. Throws on the run. McMichael with the grab. Oh, and Randy McMichael gets crunched at the 40. What a hit Donovan Darius.
And one of the big hitters in the National Football League, Donovan Darius, that's his game, playing up close to the line of scrimmage as an 8th man in the box. And let's listen to this shot, Gus. Wow. And two young studs going head-to-head, and Darius is a hitter. When people go across the middle against this Jags defense, he's the guy that they have their head on the swivel for.
I don't know who said it. The NFL is not a contact sport, it's a collision sport. 1st and 10 at the 39. The pitch to Ricky Williams. And Williams chopped down at the 37 by John Henderson. Kansas City, Green Bay really duking it out. Here's Jim Nantz.
Yes, they are. It's, of course, the rematch of Super Bowl I. I've been talking to my old friend Hank Stram this week, who coached the Chiefs back then, but their Chiefs now are down 14 as Davenport bursts free up the middle, 28-14, 14 unanswered by Green Bay here. Let's go back to Gus and Brent.
And how about Coach Stram, the former Kansas City head coach, getting into the Hall of Fame, finally. 2nd down and 11 at the 38. Play action, Fiedler. Dumps it to the sideline. Ian Badejo squares his shoulders and is out of bounds close to midfield.
And now we've seen Jay Fiedler go play action to Ian Badejo. 2 plays ago, we saw McMichael. And that's what you have. When you have Ricky Williams as your running back, your play action pass should be better than any team in the National Football League. You've got to just continue to develop that because everybody is focusing on Ricky Williams.
It seems like you're a little down on Jay Fiedler.
I'm not down on Jay Fiedler. He's got to go ahead and capitalize on the opportunities that are presented him. He's going to have some chances during the course of the game.
Sound like a Dolphins fan here. 1st and 10 at midfield. Here's the reverse. Oh, loose ball. Who wants it? Recovered by Jacksonville. Aiken Adele, and the Jaguars were waiting in the weeds for that play. They saw it last week against the Giants, and they waited, and now they have the football.
And last week, James McKnight went 68 yards and broke the backs of the Giants. This time, the penetration coming from Hugh Douglas. Ricky Williams shouldn't hand this ball off. He's reaching. You see him start to reach, and Hugh Douglas does what a veteran does. He slaps the ball.
Different story last week. For the Dolphins against the Giants, they ran the same play.
And there it was, and you see all the Giants team committing to Ricky Williams and James McKnight. Once he beats one man, he's down the sidelines for a huge touchdown.
Leftwich passing, and Leftwich incomplete. Is it incomplete or a fumble?
Well, we know the tuck rule. They're saying his arm didn't start forward right now before that ball was knocked out of his hands. We know this. We've seen this more than we've ever seen it in the last 3 years in the National Football League, and the officials are going to get together and talk about it. And, of course, I'd imagine Jack Del Rio to challenge this.
He's throwing the flag off.
There you go. He's saying no way. If Byron Leftwich's arm started forward, no matter what happens after that point, it is an incomplete pass. If the ball was knocked out prior to that, it is a fumble.
So they've challenged it. Let's see before we go to break.
I thought it was starting to go forward.
Yes, it was.
Yep, that will be an incomplete pass, I'd imagine, when we come back from commercial.
We'll see.
Gus, if Byron Leftwich's arm is moving forward and that ball is knocked out, it is an incomplete pass per the tuck rule. Let's watch where Ogunleye hits his arm. Now his arm's going to start going back right here. The ball's not out. It's not out. It's not out.
After
You see it
reviewing
going
the play,
forward.
the ball came out of the quarterback's hand prior to the arm coming forward. It is a fumble. 1st down
You know
for
what?
Miami.
I disagree
Jacksonville
with that
will be
interpretation because of this
with a
angle.
timeout.
I don't see it coming out yet. I don't see it coming out yet. It's not coming out. His arm's going forward. It's out right there. His arm was going forward. It's very close. And here's the other angle. That ball's going forward, Gus. They've called that an incomplete pass a couple of times, and it's a tough decision by the officials because where is that line? You see it going forward. He drops it down, and it's starting to come up and go forward. I don't know. Now that angle, it looks like you can't tell as much because you don't have the vision, the view to see his arm on a lateral plane. See it right there, going forward. It's still in his arms. There it gets knocked out. Those 6 inches tell me it's an incomplete pass. I think that they had a replay and they missed it.
All right. I agree with you on that, partner.
And we know the rule. It's the interpretation of the rule. The officials saw one thing, they thought it was out.
So Miami forces the 4th turnover for Jacksonville and takes over at the 48. Ricky Williams running, and Ricky down at the 45. Flag on the play. Holding coming up against Miami.
When going back to that tuck rule, we all know the rule, and I think the officials in this league know it as well as anybody, of course.
Holding, 61, offense. 10-yard penalty, still first down.
Byron Leftwich has had a rocky day.
Of course, that tuck rule came to light in that Patriot Raider game here a few years back, the snow game. And we know that rule. We've seen it happen. And really, it's about interpretation of the rule. It's not like the officials don't know what it is, but it's at what point is your arm going forward. I clearly thought Leftwich's arm right there was going forward, and so did Byron, and so did Jack Del Rio.
So the holding penalty makes it first and 20 to 38. 8 penalties, 89 yards for the Dolphins. Here's Williams again, running outside. Another flag.
Wow. And you have got to talk about John Henderson and Marcus Stroud. How many holdings have we seen today from the Dolphins? 4, 5 inside, and it's all against these big behemoths at defensive tackle.
66, offense, 10-yard penalty, still first down.
And Gus, these guys are monsters. Henderson 6'7", 328. Marcus Stroud 6'6", 312, second and third year respectively. And there's big Marcus Stroud.
And John Henderson.
Oh man. In fact, that was Henderson's 98, Stroud is 99.
There's Henderson. Stroud's 99, as you mentioned. There he is. Both out of the SEC, Georgia and Tennessee. First down and 30 at the 28. Miami digging a hole for themselves. And this time it's Marcus Stroud jumping on Ricky Williams. And Marcus Stroud, we talked to him in our meeting yesterday, and he told us that he had a bet going on with his very good friend, John Henderson, on the Georgia-Tennessee game. And Georgia obliterated Tennessee, and he told me before the game to watch for John because he's still a little ticked off about the Volunteers losing the way they did, and he's going to come out and really try to sock it to Miami today. And he has thus far. Second and 25 at the 33. Play action. Here's the screen. Iambadejo, the over-the-shoulder catch. And Obafemi gets up to the 44 before Rasheed Mathis brings him down. A gain of 11.
Iambadejo's done a nice job catching the ball in the backfield a few times. We're going to see him on the screen. The fake inside to Ricky Williams. Hold those linebackers. Give your lineman time to get downfield. Here's Tim Ruddy looking inside. Outside, Jamie Nails making a block. Going ahead and getting Iambadejo down the line.
So that makes it 3rd and 14 at the 44. They need to go to the Jacksonville 42 for a first down.
Watch Hugh Douglas and Tony Bracken's ears pinned back.
3-receiver package. Fiedler steps up in the pocket. And it's incomplete. McKnight dropped it. He wouldn't have had enough for the first down.
And that's exactly right. And James McKnight knew that, and he was trying to get his head upfield and try to create after catching the ball. I'm not a big fan of running short of the first down. You see James McKnight, it's not his fault. He's just executing. Donovan Darris driving on the route. And you see outside, there was no way, even if he caught it, he was going anywhere.
So Miami forced to punt. Turk standing at the 30. High, spiraling, beautiful kick. Allen lets it go over his head and into the end zone. Great deep by David Allen. A 55-yard punt, but a net of only 35 yards. So let's see if Byron Leftwich can put something together down by 7.
The NFL on CBS is sponsored by Subway. Good, so you don't always have to be. Subway, eat fresh. And by IBM, official information technology partner of the NFL.
4:04 to go in the third quarter. Jacksonville hanging around. Down 10-3 with the ball at their own 20. Fred Taylor back in the game for the Jaguars. Leftwich underneath, throws a strike to Troy Edwards. Gains 8 on the play. Will bring up second down and about 2. Now Tuesday on CBS, for two sailors, an online war game becomes real when one turns up dead. For the crime investigators, it's only the beginning. Mark Harmon stars in an all-new Navy NCIS, Tuesday at 8/7 Central on CBS. Second and short, Taylor running the ball, and he can't get through the line of scrimmage. Close to the 30-yard line. And you just expect Fred Taylor to eventually break one. He's had one of his best games ever against this Miami team.
And I like the fact that the Jags haven't diverted from their plan. They're continuing to run Fred Taylor. They're chewing clock. They're hanging around. And like you said, Gus, during the break, people criticize the Dolphins because they can't put away lesser opponents. They can't capitalize. 4 turnovers, only 10 points off those turnovers today.
Third down and short. They need a yard. Leftwich to throw. Leftwich steps up, runs it, gets the first down. All right, it's time for NFL flashback. These two teams do have a history. Jaguars trounced the Dolphins in '99, a divisional playoff game in what will be the last game for old number 13. The Jags scored 62 points and held the Dolphins to 7, ending the careers of our Dan Marino and also his coach Jimmy Johnson on a very sad note.
And Danny, don't let those guys in the studio pick on you. At least you got some points on the board.
First and 10 in the 33. Leftwich looking, pumping, down the field. Jimmy Smith! Oh, he dropped it, and a flag. Marion, call for interference.
Yep, and you know what, Gus? They're going to call Marion for the arm bar. The ball was, Jimmy Smith did a veteran job of slowing down and using his body. And when he reached back, Marion got his arm out, contacting Jimmy Smith. They call that the arm bar. It's pass interference and a nice move.
Pass interference, 31, defense. Automatic, first down.
Second pass interference called on Brock Marion today.
And let's see, Jimmy Smith working down the field and a safety covering him. That's a mismatch, even though we like Marion. You see that arm bar come in right before the ball arrives. Because you know Jimmy Smith would have caught that. The official's right on top of it, and Brock Marion saying, what? But it's such a bang-bang play. Sometimes as a defender, you don't realize you got there a split second before the ball.
And that is a 44-yard penalty. Gives Jacksonville a first and 10 at the Miami 22. Play action. Leftwich dumps it off. Tofield with running room. And the rookie gets down to the Miami 7. Marlon Greenwood stops him. But with 1:49 to go, the Jaguars are knocking on the door.
Talking about spreading around. Watch Tofield. We're going to get a little play here. Inside, straight drop back. Rush coming. Just sneak out. Little slip screen. Get a block. You see the Dolphins linebacker right there. I think it was Tommy Hendricks get caught up between two Jags linemen. And the Jags doing a nice job sticking to their game plan.
First down and goal at the 8. Leftwich out of the gun. Looking. Leftwich runs. Byron. Touchdown Jacksonville. And Dave Ronstadt and the Dolphins have trouble on their hands.
And the consensus around the league is Leftwich isn't that big of a scrambler. He's not as mobile. We've seen him 3 or 4 times today get a key first down, and right here, a key touchdown. Doesn't force the ball like most rookies would. Tucks it, protects it. Look at that stride. He's got some wheels.
Extra point up and good. 1:07 to go in the third quarter. We're tied at 10. Lord Byron ruling. Ties it up for the Jags. Jacksonville sends it away. Charlie Rogers from the 9. And Rogers over the 35 to the 36. A 27-yard return.
You guys, let's go back to that touchdown. Watch the maturity of Byron Leftwich. Scans the field. His receivers are covered. Don't make a bad throw. Pull it down. Use your legs. You see the speed. And watch this. This isn't a wimpy quarterback spike. Bang! That's a big man spike right there. He's fired up.
And that's his first career rushing touchdown, an 8-yarder.
And you know what? It's been nice. Spread the ball around today. Use a lot of Fred Taylor. Maybe not gaudy statistics. Their defense has kept them in the game. Take a few shots downfield. That penalty with Jimmy Smith would have been a big catch.
Miami, first down at their own 37. Fiedler fires to Iamakajo, who's wrapped up Fernando Bryant. That's how you close.
Absolutely, and how do you stay in the game against this top-flight Dolphins team? You create some penalties. The Dolphins, you see against Jimmy Smith, Brock Marion, big penalty. You see inside there against Troy Edwards. We've got a roughing the punter. The Dolphins, crucial mistakes, and of course this last play, Brock Marion once again. We've seen the holding inside against the big monsters and Dave Ronstadt's team. Look at that, 144 penalty yards. That's outrageous.
Fiedler in trouble in the pocket, over the middle, broken up. Donovan Darius. And the momentum has swung. Jacksonville's defense really pinning their ears back now.
And Marcus Stroud and some of those defenders for the Jags said, we'll find out how good our defense is today. Playing against Ricky Williams' Dolphins offense. And I think they've answered the bell here thus far through 3 quarters.
Brings up 3rd and 10 at the 37. Miami 1 of 5 on third down conversions. They need to go to the 47-yard line. Fiedler over the middle. Oh, McKnight! What a beautiful catch in traffic. James McKnight with the beautiful 33-yard reception. And the Dolphins pick up the first down. And that's the end of the third quarter. We'll return to Altel right after this word from your local station. Jacksonville with a touchdown in the third to tie it up at 10 apiece, but Miami, after the huge 33-yard completion, Fiedler to James McKnight, has the ball at the Jacksonville 30, first down. Play action, Fiedler again, looking for McMichael, incomplete. McMichael had a step.
And McMichael needs to make that catch. We've been bartering for him all day to get that ball. And let's go back to that big third down play. It's right here. James McKnight, the fastest guy on the Dolphins against Donovan Darius, a safety. In that 2 deep, that Tampa 2. There's the free middle of the field. Jay Fiedler steps up and puts it right in between there. Great job of creating a mismatch by the Dolphins, and you see Jay Fiedler step in there, pressure, step up, and deliver the throw. Those are the plays he has to make.
2nd and 10 at the 30. Ricky Williams outside, and Williams goes down to 22. About a yard and a half short of the first down, gains 8. As Aiken Adele brings him to the ground.
And you know that it's funny because the Dolphins came right back with that McMichael play down the middle. And he dropped it, and then they're coming right back to Ricky Williams. You see him, and they're doing a nice job now of mixing it up.
Is that the counter you were talking about earlier?
That's a little bit of counter. You see Ricky cutting it back. We talked about penetration stops it.
3rd down and 2 at the 22. Ricky Williams looking for the first down. Has it. And more. Out of bounds at the 15, a gain of 8.
And this is really where you find out about your defense. And we talk about the Jags looking tough and answering the call for the first 3 quarters, but this is where it gets tough, and that's what Jack Del Rio is saying. We've got to stop the guy carrying the ball. And this is how Miami Dolphins, this is how they wear on you. They keep pounding you with Ricky Williams. In the 4th quarter, when you're tired, he's just getting going.
Jack Del Rio yelling from the sideline, make a play. It's that simple.
Boy, that 3rd down, Gus, is going to come back to haunt him. That was a big time play by the Dolphins.
1st and 10 at the 14. Fiedler. Underneath, incomplete. And that ball hung up in the air for an eternity. Chris Chambers, the intended receiver, brings up 2nd down.
And I think this is just an instance where Chris Chambers is open outside. He starts coming back underneath. And that ball, you just got to sit down. You see him going, and Jay Fiedler is actually trying to lead him on that outside shoulder. And Fiedler's made a couple of big throws here, these last 3 throws. The one to McKnight and that one to McMichael down the seam that McMichael should have had. Big-time tight ends catch that ball. Jay Fiedler, we've taken some shots at him, but we've also praised him when he's done some big things today.
2nd and 10 at the 14. And Fiedler calls a timeout. 13:24 to go in the 4th quarter. Game tied at 10. Game tied at 10, 13:24 to go in the 4th. Jack Del Rio, 1st-year head coach. His defense faced with a 2nd and 10 at their own 14. Now for Miami, every time they get close, they usually come up with some kind of drive-killing penalty. Here's Williams, running, breaks it outside, has a step toward the end zone, out of bounds at the 2.5. Rasheem Mathis gets him after a gain of 12.
Boy, and that acceleration in the 4th quarter is so rare in this National Football League. And watch Ricky Williams starts off to the right, sees the hole, cuts back, goes lateral, then gets north and south. You see that? And that explosion right there, the difference to get those next 8 or 9 yards and go past a defensive back is so rare in this league, that size and speed combo.
And the rushing by quarters, 28 for Ricky in the 4th. He has 83 yards rushing. 1st down goal at the Jaguar 2, out of the eye. Williams, and he's hit at the 5. Tony Brackens has had a spectacular game.
Well, Tony Brackens has been everywhere for this Jags defense. Look at the pressure that he's going to get. Knifing inside, goes right into the backfield, little arm over, coming out, and just drills Ricky Williams. And Brackens, a big-time day. And, you know, Hugh Douglas had gotten all the press coming over this summer from Philadelphia. And Hugh really hasn't done a whole lot. He needs to step up and start being the player they thought he was going to be here in Jacksonville.
Empty backfield for Fiedler. Watch the draw here. A quarterback draw. Fiedler runs it, and they knew it was coming.
I guess if you knew it was coming, they knew it was coming. Good call, partner. Empty backfield. You don't expect Jay Fiedler to be the guy. But the Jags all over the quarterback draw. And Dave Weinstein saying, what do we got to do to get that ball in the end zone? And you see Brackens pressure inside once again. Marcus Stroud, storyline of the day for the Jags defense.
So here's the big play coming up for both teams as the fans rise to their feet here at Old Town. 3rd down goal at the 6. Miami needs to get in. Fiedler over the middle, and they won't. Ian Badejo, a fumble on the play. Touchdown. McMichael. He picks it up and walks in. Unbelievable.
That is unbelievable. I'm not so sure Ian Badejo's knee wasn't down before that ball came out.
Into the end zone.
And this is one of the times where the defense is going to hope that it was.
We have a fumble, a recovery by Miami, and a touchdown.
So Jack Del Rio has to make a quick decision. as they're lining up to kick it right now.
And he's got his arm back, got the red flag.
He's trying to see a replay, and the replay hasn't come.
And here it is for Coach Del Rio. Let's see, Ian Badejo, is his knee down? No, I think that ball was out. And McMichael just on the spot. And Jack's gonna challenge it anyway from that angle. It looked like the ball was out before his knee was down. And Jack Del Rio getting that arm back, nice follow through.
Jacksonville is challenging the ruling on the field of a fumble and a recovery and a touchdown.
11:29 to go. Game tied at 10, or is it?
The NFL on CBS is sponsored by the United States Air Force. Cross into the blue. Schick Quattro. 4 blades and 2 conditioning strips for an incredibly close, smooth shave. And by Intel Centrino Mobile Technology.
Welcome back, 16-10, or is it 10-10? That's the question. Another look at the Obafemi Ayanbadejo fumble.
And watch Ian Badejo, that knee has to be down before the ball comes out. Still up, still up, still up. And there's the ball. His knee isn't down, it's down right about there. Remember, Gus, the call on the field was touchdown. There's no irrefutable evidence to show that Ian Badejo's knee was down. You see it falling down, but the ball's out there, and there's his knee still up. You still see green. Now it hits, and Randy McMichael right on the spot to pick it up and score.
After reviewing the play, the ball came out prior to the runner's knee touching the ground. It is a fumble. Miami picked up the ball and scored. It is a touchdown. Jackson will be charged with a timeout.
For Jacksonville, they did everything right. Just one of the unluckiest plays you'll see.
Yeah, and that ball bounced and rolled right underneath Rasheed Mathis's arms, and McMichael was right there and scooped down, grabbed it, and
walked into the end zone.
Wow. It's nice to have your head on the swivel.
Randy McMichael with the touchdown, and the Dolphins take the 16-10 lead. Sometimes it's better to be a little lucky than good.
When you got to give the Jags defense credit, what a tough way to have momentum swing on you. But they're stopping them short and causing a fumble.
Murray in to attempt the extra point, and it's good. A weird sequence, but the Dolphins will take it. 17-10. Big time touchdown for Randy McMichael. He picks up the fumble and waltzes into the end zone as the Dolphins take a 7-point lead. Murray sends it away. Troy Edwards. Edwards turning the corner and out of bounds at the 25. A flag on the play. 20-yard return. And a holding penalty against Jacksonville. Here's a question for you. Who is the NFL's
holding? 45, return team. 10-yard penalty, first down.
All right, who's the NFL's 2003 most valuable player thus far? Stephen Davis, Dante Hall, Marvin Harrison, Peyton Manning, or Randy Moss? Cast your vote at NFL.com.
That's a tough one.
That is good.
We have Carolina next week. I can hardly wait to see Stephen Davis.
So who do you like?
I don't know. All those guys are carrying
Make
the team.
a decision.
Randy Moss is my guy.
Thank you very much, you waffler.
I mean, nobody expect the Vikings to come out and dominate. I was waffling.
First down and 10 at the 16. Into the flats. Fred Taylor down the sideline with the running room. And he is out of bounds at the 30. Zach Thomas gives him a shove, but it's a gain of 14.
Boy, and I thought the Jags would go more against this matchup today. Tommy Hendricks against Fred Taylor in the passing game. Watch number 51 out of the backfield, the defensive backfield. Got to tackle Fred Taylor one-on-one. That's an impossible job. Of course, Hendricks filling in for the injured Junior Seau. And that might not be a bad time to continue to go after that matchup if I'm Jacksonville.
1st and 10 at the 31. Trips to the top of your screen. Leftwich. Ball caught. Hatchet gets to the 35, a 5-yard pickup. Friday on CBS, whether it's a drug ring or a bank robbery, the FBI's undercover team will take on any identity to solve crimes from the inside. Emmy winner Joe Pantoliano is the handler. Don't miss an all-new episode Friday at 10, 9 Central on CBS. 2nd down 5 at the 36. Byron Leftwich gaining confidence as this game goes on. Goes up the sideline. Leftwich, beautiful throw. Out of bounds. David Allen on the wheel route out of the backfield.
And what touch by the rookie quarterback. Down the field to David Allen. And look at Leftwich just standing there, and that is a tough throw. You see so many quarterbacks throw that out of bounds, and Allen, what a nice job as a running back, looking that ball into his hands, outstretched arms, gets both feet down. Impressive throw and catch.
The gain of 31, 1st and 10 at the 33 of Miami. Draw play. Taylor hops through the hole and goes down at the 28-yard line. Sammy Knight grabs him.
See, that's so important to go back to that run. Keep Fred Taylor involved. Don't make the Dolphins think that, hey, all we're going to do is throw the ball. Still 9.5 minutes left in the game, and there's Bill Musgrave,
your former teammate.
That's right, doing a spectacular job here for the Jacksonville Jaguars. Jimmy Smith talked about how impressive a young coach Bill Musgrave is, has done a nice job today of mixing up the calls, getting everybody in the offense involved.
2nd down and 6 at the 29. Leftwich underneath Kyle Brady. Kyle Brady down to the 10. And Byron Leftwich is really spreading the rock right now.
Spreading the rock, Gus, is the call. And he has done a phenomenal job of involving all his skill players. We talked about using Kyle Brady, big target, rookie quarterback's best friend, the tight end. But look at Kyle Brady after the catch. He is making some things happen down the field, using that big body, plowing over half the Dolphins defense.
And the Jaguars have gone from 21st to 11th in the NFL in passing since Leftwich took over 2 weeks ago at quarterback. 1st and goal. Taylor. And Fred Taylor doesn't have a lot of room. Romero and Larry Chester.
And we've talked both about Miami not being able to dominate teams they should beat, but hang on there, big boy. Maybe Jacksonville isn't the team they should beat. Maybe the Jags are better than people think. Maybe Del Rio has come in, like I believe, he's got 2 young offensive line and defensive line that have been really playing well for them. They've got some skill positions, Fred Taylor, and now with Leftwich in there, maybe they're better than people think.
But they need 6 right here. 2nd and goal at the 9. Underneath, Taylor with the catch. Fred Taylor slices in and gets down to the 2-yard line. Marlon Greenwood prevents him from crossing the line. Is this 4-down territory?
Yeah, I think at this point, you absolutely have to do that. And let's watch Fred Taylor, Gus, on a little Texas route. He's going to go out, fake the linebackers, and come back underneath. And you see the direction of the linebackers. And Fred bobbles it, but gets it and gets in there, gets an extra 7 yards. And that's what you got. When you have Fred Taylor, and Jack Del Rio knows this, you got to utilize him in the passing game. He is dangerous.
3rd down and goal at the 2. Remember, Leftwich ran one in a little while ago. Bad snap. Oh, man. Bad snap. Leftwich covers it up at the 15.
And the Jags have done a lot of shotgun formation, bad snap. And Gus, you had said, is this 4-down territory? Well, now it's not. You don't expect to lose 10 yards with the ball going on the ground through the quarterback's legs. And Dave Wannstedt saying, hey, all right, that's a big break. Now you got to go for the field goal, of course.
Brings on Seth Marler. And to attempt a 31-yarder.
And remember, he's got a new holder now.
Mark Royals up, and he missed it. He pushes it to the right. What a deflating series for the Jaguars.
The NFL on CBS is sponsored by Nextel Coast to Coast Walkie Talkie. Nextel, done. And by the restyled Honda Civic, a smarter car for a smarter driver.
17-10, Miami with the lead. Dolphins dodge a bullet. Seth Marler misses a 31-yarder.
Yeah, and we talked about Mark Royals being in the hold, but the hold was perfect. And Seth Marler, I don't know what's wrong. Just a little push right. I'm trying to figure out what happened.
He's a rookie. 1st and 10 at the 21. 6:39 to go. Ricky Williams. And Williams lowers his head, gets a couple of yards, and the Dolphins would like nothing more than to establish Ricky Williams for the rest of this game.
Yeah, I think it's Ricky Williams' time for the Dolphins, and I think the Jags know that, and you're going to continue to need to pick up first downs. And so we're going to have to see some plays in the passing game as well, because there's still some time, guys, 6 minutes, and the way that Jags offense moved the ball, if I'm Miami, I'm not too comfortable with just a 7-point lead right now.
17 carries, 75 yards, and a touchdown for Ricky. 2nd and 8. Fiedler in trouble, steps up, trying to get to the first down marker, slides down about 2 yards short of the marker. Marcus Stroud giving chase, and that brings up 3rd down.
Jay Fiedler dropping the ball down and making some things happen with his legs. You see him go through his progression, nothing there. Nice job ball security. You see him get both hands. Here come big Marcus Stroud. Slide, don't take the shot, and sometimes when you're a quarterback you still take that shot.
3rd down and 2 at the 29. Jaguars defense needs a big play to get off the field.
And you think everybody in the stadium knows what's coming? Ricky Williams inside.
On that counter play that you talked about at the beginning of our telecast, they've been successful with it today. But Fiedler wants to throw on a flag. Play clock winding down to 0.
Boy, that's a mental mistake against Jay Fiedler, if that's what
Delay,
happened.
offense, 5-yard penalty, still 3rd down.
Boy, you've got to either get up and get set or call timeout, Gus, because 3rd and 2 and 3rd and 7, and look at this, 149 penalty yards, but that one could be the most crucial. This is a tough make on 3rd down. This is a tough conversion. You had 2 yards. You're going to run Ricky Williams, your star running back, in there. Although they were going to pass the ball anyway, now they're going to throw the ball.
3rd down and 7. Dolphins 50% on 3rd down conversions, 4 of 8. They need to go to the 31. Fiedler with time, pump fake, lets it go. McKnight wide open, right through his hands. Holy mackerel, Jack.
Wow.
Oh my goodness.
Well, you talk about Jay Fiedler having to come up with a big throw when he needs it, and he certainly did. This is an impressive throw. You see the pump fake, get off of me, defensive lineman, and McKnight, outstretched arms. Now that's not a simple catch, Gus, but James McKnight makes that catch right through his fingers, and there was nobody home.
They send it away. Allen from the 41, and he goes down at the 35. Nice special teams coverage by Brendan Ayanbadejo, a 35-yard punt. Jay Fiedler can't catch a break today. He put that ball on the money.
And it just seems that when Jay's accurate, his receivers have trouble hanging onto the ball, and then there's sometimes the receivers are wide open, and Jay's just off his mark a little bit. And you know, you can't blame that one on Jay. And we had another one to Randy McMichael down the seam for 30 yards, and would have been a touchdown or close to it, and a couple big drops by the Dolphins skill players, and you can't blame Jay Fiedler for those throws. Those are on the money.
So the Jaguars take over with solid field position at their own 38.
Still time, Gus, to run Fred Taylor in there. Use the play action. Get Fred Taylor out in the passing game. Open field. It's time to get Fred going.
Jaguars have one timeout remaining. Empty backfield for Leftwich. Now Taylor. Quick strike. Caught at the 44 by Jimmy Smith. A 7-yard gain. Tonight on CBS, the serial rapist was never caught. Now a new tip will start the hunt all over again. Don't miss Cold Case tonight after 60 minutes.
And Gus, one of the keys right now is for Jack Del Rio's young quarterback is going to be his eye contact. He cannot follow the receiver. We saw him do it once in the first half. He's done a nice job of looking off these DBs in the second half. You can't lock on.
2nd and 3. Incomplete, intended for Brady. Brings up a very important 3rd down and 3. Junior Seau out of the lineup today, inactive with a hamstring injury. Suffered last week versus the Giants. 3rd down, 3 at the 45. 8 of 14 on 3rd down conversions. The Jaguars. Leftwich throws that one, puts some mustard on it. Is it a catch? Yes, but a flag on the play.
Boy, and I wonder if they're going to call offensive interference. It's an interesting call.
And it's against Miami.
The Dolphins were signaling against the Jaguars, but of course, Dave Wannstedt doesn't
Illegal
think so.
contact. 29 defense. That penalty's declined. 1st down.
And the penalty was declined, not adding to this atrocious penalty yardage of the Miami Dolphins. And let's watch the throw by Byron Leftwich. We talked about the strength of his arm outside. Sam Madison, illegal contact after 5 yards down the field.
Gain of 12. 1st down at the Miami 44. Leftwich. Incomplete. Taylor not ready, and he had Zach Thomas with him.
Boy, that was going to be big yardage. Big yardage, and Fred Taylor just didn't snap his head around. And Fred Taylor against Zach Thomas, that is going to be a lot of room to run for Fred if he turns the corner. Watch Taylor in the backfield right here, sneaking out. He's going to get, and look at the lane down the field. Receivers, Miami defenders down the field, and Fred Taylor hangs on to that. That's 25 yards easy.
Do you come back with a play like that?
I still like Fred Taylor in the passing game against the backers of the Dolphins.
Leftwich underneath, incomplete, intended for Brady. And that brings up 3rd and 10. Leftwich gunning that one. A little too much on it.
Yeah, Gus, and of course the challenge. They had to burn another timeout. They lost a timeout on the challenge. And inside Miami territory, usually I wouldn't say this is 4-down territory with 3.5 minutes, but just one Miami 1st down really puts your back against the wall. You've only got 1 timeout left, and I'd say,
and the 2-minute warning.
Yeah, well, if you got to get some positive yardage. You need 6 or 7 yards here to even think about it.
3rd and 10 at the 44. They need to go to the 34 for 1st down. Leftwich pumps, throws on the run, incomplete. Too high for Jimmy Smith, who was open.
Wow, and Byron Leftwich would love to have that one back. It's so tough to throw going to your left when you're a right-hander. The ball sometimes sails on you. Watch Byron Leftwich pull the ball down, get out to his left. He sees Jimmy Smith late, but he's got to throw going to his left. The ball just sails a little bit over Jimmy Smith's head. Would have easily had that 1st down. And
Jack Del Rio and the Jaguars will go for it.
Not a horrible decision, Gus, with only 1 timeout left.
4th down and 10 at the 44. They need to go to the Miami 34 for 1st down. Leftwich out of the shotgun. Leftwich down the sideline, incomplete. And the Jaguars turn it over on down with 3:23 to go. Miami on offense after this. Tonight on CBS at 60 Minutes, followed by Cold Case, then the CBS Sunday movie Footsteps. Gus Johnson, Brent Jones with you from Alltel Stadium. What a great second half. Dolphins have had opportunities. Jaguars have had opportunities. Both teams struggling on capitalizing on all these opportunities. Dolphins with the ball, 1st and 10 at the 45. Ricky Williams, and he is dropped by Aiken Adele. Loses yardage on the play. A lot of time left, though.
Still some time left. Of course, the Jags with 1 timeout left, and I'm sure some people will question Jack Del Rio going for that last 4th down. You know, you're 1-4. You're trying to change your momentum. You've had a couple of tough breaks today happen. The ball snapped through Byron Leftwich's legs when you're down on the 2-yard line. Randy McMichael picking up a ball that would have been 4th down and walking into the end zone. Couple tough breaks, and I can see him just trying to create some momentum. Need a big defensive stand right here.
2nd and 11. Ricky again with blockers. But the Jaguars get there. Williams out of bounds. Mike Peterson stops him. And the clock stops at 2:32. Coming up next, the doubleheader continues when Hines Ward and the Steelers take on Clinton Portis and the Broncos. The Bills battle the Jets, and the Ravens visit the Cardinals. Check local listings for more. Go to NFL.com or NFL on AOL.
And Gus, tackling Ricky Williams out of bounds on that last play was key for Mike Peterson. Ricky Williams has to know, getting to the sideline, I got to get down if I'm not going to get any yardage, because we would have been down to the 2-minute warning.
3rd down and 10 at the 45. Wheeler will pass. Williams underneath, an incomplete pass, which also stops the clock.
Wow.
At 2:28. So some questionable decisions being made.
Well, you know what? Ricky on the 1 not getting out of bounds was questionable, and then right there, he's just trying to make something happen and get up the field before he looks the ball in. So a mental mistake by Ricky Williams, and then a physical mistake, which allows almost no time to be run off the clock, and the Jags are right back in this thing.
With the timeout and the 2-minute warning, but they need a good return from David Allen. Here's Allen, fields it at the 19, and he goes nowhere. Down immediately. James McKnight making the tackle, a 36-yard punt. A 1-yard return. Does Byron Leftwich have any magic in that right arm? He has 2:18 remaining in regulation to prove it, and he needs 6. His biggest fan on the sideline is that man, one of the classiest players in the league, Mark Brunell. Out of the lineup with an elbow injury, but basically he's been supplanted as the starting quarterback by Leftwich.
And I'd imagine Byron Leftwich wants this situation. This is how you create your legend. You're a rookie quarterback. You're playing against one of the best defenses in the league. You got the ball, 2 minutes and 18 seconds, 80 yards to go. Let's see what you can do.
Here's Leftwich. Steps up and is sacked. 3rd sack of the day for the Dolphins. Ogunleye bringing him down.
When a lot of the focus goes to Jason Taylor, but how about Ogunleye this year? He's been rising up to the occasion. A lot of pressure created throughout today.
And the Jaguars will let the clock run down. 2 minutes to go, 17-10. An intense Jack Del Rio watches from the Jacksonville sideline. His team down 17-10 with the ball at their own 17.
And you know, I love using the middle of the field. I know the Jags only have 1 timeout left, but defenders are taught to watch those sideline routes. Of course, players wanting to conserve time, and you just got to have your offensive linemen ready to go if you make a big play down the middle of the field where there's some soft spots. You just have to hustle up, get on the ball, and spike it.
2nd down at 14. And Leftwich has to dump it. He had pressure right in his face. Zach Thomas.
And one thing that the Miami Dolphins don't do a lot of, and that's blitz. And they brought Zach Thomas on that play, and Byron Leftwich had to just throw that ball away.
Jaguars still with 1 timeout remaining, but now it's 3rd down and 14.
Got to use that soft middle of the field right here. Miami's thinking sideline. Everybody in the stadium is thinking the same thing. Get a route, use that open space.
Leftwich looking, steps up, running, and he goes down at the 16. Nobody open. Great defense by the Dolphins.
Yeah, that secondary was playing tight coverage. You're going to see nobody open, and Byron Leftwich, once he goes right and it comes back left, he tucks the ball. Got to have that ball up. The threat of a pass. This is when receivers break open. You're still not by the line of scrimmage. This is when you can look downfield, find a guy down here, down there. You see him holding the ball, protecting it. Got to get rid of that ball. And this is going to be a tough 4th down play for the Jags.
And Jacksonville burns their final timeout. Jags have been close in a number of games this year, 2 in particular. They lost to the undefeated Carolina Panthers 24-23, their opener. Then on September 28th, they fell to Houston on the final play of the game. A David Carr quarterback sneak, 24-20 at Houston.
Because this is one of those times where it's not necessarily great to hit your tight end or your running back unless it's on a wheel route. Use the middle of the field, find Jimmy Smith on a crossing pattern, or Troy Edwards, hope for a pass interference or a clean route. You've got to pass protect, though. A lot more pressure in this series against Byron Leftwich.
This is the ball game for Jacksonville. Leftwich lets it go down the sideline, picked up, and that should be a touchdown. And it is. Sam Madison, 2nd interception of the day. This one for 6. And the Dolphins will win this game.
And Gus, we said against these veteran quarterbacks, you've got to be careful not to lock down on your receiver. And unfortunately for the Jags and Byron Leftwich, he was looking that left side, watching his receiver down the sideline. Sam Madison, you're a Pro Bowl cornerback. That's exactly what you're waiting for. Converted it to 6.
Extra point up and good. Sam Madison taking it to the house. Miami takes a 24-10 lead.
And Byron Leftwich doing so many good things today. And just a couple of bad throws that, of course, he would like to have back. Let's watch him looking to the left side of the field. You can see his head. He's looking over there the whole time. 2, 3 steps. Sam Madison says, that is a give me. I will jump that route every time. He's watching the quarterback's eyes. 2nd interception of the day, this time for 6. And you're going to watch him outside. He's looking right at Byron. Look, he's not even watching the receiver. He was watching Byron Leftwich the whole time. Just what we said at the top of the show. When you go against the best DBs in the league, and Byron's going to have learned a lot today, man, you have got to keep your eyes off your primary target.
Earlier in the game, we talked about keeping an eye on Sam Madison, and he's come up with a very nice game. 2 picks, 1 for a touchdown. Miami up big as Mare sends it in the end zone, and Allen has to take a knee.
Touchback, 1st down, Jacksonville.
You guys still impressed with Byron Leftwich overall, and of course, we said that you're going to be able to gauge him by how he plays today against the best secondary in the NFL, and he did some good things, and it's a learning curve, and you're going to be challenged. And he kept his team.
How do you go about learning how to look off defenders with your eye?
Well, you know, you hear all the time rookie quarterbacks, even 2nd, 3rd year guys going, the game moves so fast. It's still moving fast, and so sometimes in pressure situations, you revert back to locking on a receiver. He's just a young quarterback. He's going to mature. He's got a lot of way to go.
Underneath, Fred Taylor. And I remember Dan Marino's rookie year.
He was an anomaly.
Yes, he was.
Yes.
I'd be interested in hearing what Dan has to say about how a quarterback over time learns how to look off one guy and throw to another guy. You said Joe Montana was magical when he came in.
Yeah, he would look off receivers. he would hit guys in the face mask. They thought that he was looking them off. They didn't even know the ball was coming sometimes. And it's just a maturity process. He's going to mature, and it's about getting comfortable in the pocket. He's going to have more time to be comfortable in the pocket and just develop. It's just the other challenge for Byron Leftwich, Gus, and we can't get enough credit to this Miami defense. I mean, he's going against 4 Pro Bowlers in the secondary.
So we kept an eye on Byron Leftwich.
Prior to the snap, false start, 72, offense. A false start inside of the last minute with the clock running.
We talked about keeping an eye on Byron Leftwich, Gus, and came up and he telegraphed that one, locked onto Jimmy Smith. And the only other time was this last one that we saw. Of course, the ball batted down right there. But he had some great stuff. Of course, the run in for a touchdown. He spread the ball around. And overall, pretty decent day for the young quarterback. He can't do it all, and he's going to learn in this league.
Leftwich. And that one's off by Matthew Hatchett at the 40. Clock continues to run. 20 seconds to go. Leftwich again over the middle, and that should do it. 24-10 the final. The Dolphins hang on and defeat the Jaguars. For Brent Jones, this is Gus Johnson. Now let's go to New York, where Jim Nantz is standing by.